You do just.
You already live. Your mic is already hot. We already got that showing. We got this background showing right now.
Okay.
He said it to go live at noon. Start.
Okay. So we're ready now. So we're ready now. All right. All right. How you doing, little brother? All right. Good to see you. Peace and blessings, family. My name is Brother Deric Muhammad, and welcome to the 2021 Smarten Up Black Male Summit. The Black Male Summit is a program that is specifically designed to address the unique needs of Black men and boys in this country. Too often, when there's, say, a presidential election and everyone comes with their agenda, you see bullet points in those agendas that address the needs of everyone except Black males. I often say a saying that came up in my mind one day while I was driving. I said that Black males get blamed for 90% of the problems in America, yet we only make up 6% of the population. And so in order for us to get beyond the struggles, to get beyond the obstacles, and to get beyond the roadblocks that are in our way, we have to unite, we have to come together, and we have to do what was done on October 16th, 1995 at the Million Man March. We must take the attitude of atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. So as we get into our program, I want to first thank some of our sponsors. I want to thank the African Diaspora News Network. It is a YouTube channel that we are streaming live from right now. It is a Black-owned channel by our dear brother, Phillip Scott, and it has about 1.2 million subscribers. So we're streaming live from the city of Houston, Texas, but this is going all around the world. So give yourselves a round of applause and give yourselves a hand for being here. I don't want to go through too much fluff. I want to get straight to some of the issues that we face today. On yesterday, most of us witnessed a verdict. We witnessed the verdict of Deric Muhammad, the former police officer who murdered our dear brother George Floyd in cold blood on the streets in Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd was not just murdered for a $20 bill. He wasn't just murdered because he was a Black man. George Floyd was murdered because the police call came in to what they call a sacrifice zip code. Had George Floyd been in a white neighborhood and that same alleged offense with the $20 bill had taken place, again, I say it was an alleged offense, George Floyd will still be alive today because that type of policing does not take place in wealthy neighborhoods and it doesn't take place in white neighborhoods. George Floyd was a victim of his location. And what you have to understand that there are millions of Black boys who walk the streets and sacrifice zip codes every single day. You ask yourself the question, Brother Deric, what is a sacrifice zip code? A sacrifice zip code is a zip code where the resources have been removed or rerouted from that particular zip code, that Black neighborhood, into a zip code that empowers that zip code over ours. And so we have to turn these sacrifice zip codes into success zip codes. And the way that we do that is to come together through our unity. So on yesterday, Deric Muhammad received a 22.5-year prison sentence. Some of us applauded. Some of us said that wasn't enough. Here we have a picture of our beautiful brother George Floyd with his beautiful daughter. These are the kind of images that I like to see about our brother George Floyd. Too often, when they want to convict us in the public opinion, in the public eye, what they do is they try and find the worst of us and represent the worst of us as the best of us. So what did they do when George Floyd was murdered? They began to talk to you about his problems with drug addiction, or should I say substance abuse, and other issues that he may have had. But the beautiful photo of him and his daughter shows George Floyd's heart. Now, I'm talking about images for a very important reason, because he who controls images controls minds. And too often the minds of our youth are under a certain type of control because they're only being exposed to certain images. I'm going to get to where I'm going in a second. Now, what we have right here is a picture of what actually happened. Deric Chauvin with his knee on our brother's neck for nearly 10 minutes. It was horrific. It was a murder. It was a torture. It was something that none of us wish to ever see again in our natural lives. It was barbaric. It was animalistic. And he got 22.5 years in prison for doing so. Next slide. Now, another artist brilliantly depicted this photo or this imagery of George Floyd with his knee on Deric Chauvin's neck. Anyone who knows who the artist is, please tag them and tell us thank you for this beautiful show of artistry. Now, what's beautiful about this is the fact that we get the opportunity to point out to the double standard. Go back to the photo that we were at before, please, sir. Thank you. Here you've got Chauvin with his knee on George Floyd's neck. What did he get yesterday? Handed down as a sentence from the judge, 22.5 years. Now, go to the next slide. Ask yourself the question. If George Floyd had been the one with his knee on Deric Chauvin's neck and had taken Chauvin's life, taken him away from his family, taken him away from his children, and took the very God's breath out of this man's life, do you think George Floyd would have gotten 22.5 years in prison, or do you think he would have gotten life? See, it doesn't matter whether you applauded on yesterday or whether or not you think it was an injustice on yesterday. What matters is the fact that the double standard still exists. The double standard still exists, and we cannot lie to our boys about the double standard if we want them to survive, succeed, and be all that they were born to be in the United States of America. I often do a challenge when I'm here. I got two young men right here. I'm gonna have them to come help me. Come up here, Daniel. This is my mentee, Daniel. He just turned 18. He's about to graduate from high school. Give him a round of applause. And young man, what's your name? Everett. Come up here, Everett. Daniel and Everett. These are two of our great ones right here. I don't even know Everett, but I'm still going to say he is one of two of our great ones, because we must be found speaking up to young boys, not talking down to them. So I'm going to have them do a quick little exercise for me, right? We're going to pretend that Daniel is a white man. He's not a white man, not a white boy. He's from Louisiana, so he look a little Cajun. But we're going to pretend that Daniel's white, and we don't have to pretend. We know that Everett is black. All right. So I'm an employer. I'm about to give you a job to do. I need you to drop down and give me 5 push-ups. All right. I'm not punishing you. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just trying to make a point. So on the count of 3, drop down and give me 5 push-ups. Go. 1, 2, 3. You look kind of weak, Daniel. 4, 5. All right. He did an extra one. 6. Give him a round of applause. All right, so now it's payday. Now it's payday. Remember, this is the white employee, and this is the black employee. I'm gonna dig in my pocket. I think I probably got a couple bucks in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this guy over here $10. All right, he got a 10. All right, this is the white employee. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this guy over here $5. All right, $5. Now, this is very important. Follow me. They both did the same amount of work, but he got paid twice what he got paid. This is the way the real world works. If you're a young black male and you're listening to the sound of my voice, don't let your mama tell you different. Don't let your dad tell you different. Don't let society tell you different. Don't let the president tell you different. This is the way the world works. But we don't just accept the fact that this is the way the world works. What we do is we dig deep, we dig down, and we find something in us that helps us to overcome the way the world works. So now, while the white employee is on his way home, you can go sit down, Daniel. Give Daniel a round of applause. Maybe the only time you have to pretend to be a white man, all right? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? As a black male, you must never accept the fact that white privilege gives another person a leg up over you. In order for you to beat him, you have to work twice as hard. Sometimes 3 times as hard. Sometimes 4 times as hard. But you work as hard as you have to work in order to take your rightful position in society. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that means he gone home, but you got to do some more push-ups, bro. Come on, let me see you get it. Give me 5 more. Now, this may hurt some of your feelings, especially some of you single moms out there. This may hurt some of your feelings to see me do him like this. But what I'm doing is preparing him for the future. I would rather hurt his feelings with the truth than to hurt his future by hiding the truth from him. Now, the way the universe works is if you put in the work, one way or another, you're going to get paid. Is that right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay you for the extra work that you did. There you go. Now he got $25. He's only got 10. But that is because he realized that because of his position in society, which has so much to do with the color of his skin, he realized that he had to work twice as hard to get half as much. But because he was willing to do it, he will not only survive, he will succeed. Let's give him a round of applause. Give both our boys a round of applause. So again, go to the next slide, please. Now, I went to a elementary school one day, and I put up this PowerPoint, and I asked the young 5th graders, "Who is this?" And they all said, "Who?" You know who that is? Who is it? Who? Lil Baby, right? Next slide. Then I asked who that was. Cardi B. Cardi B. The whole cafeteria went up in arms. Cardi B, that's Cardi B. Then I went to the next slide and I asked, who is that? Couldn't hear a word. Remember, he who controls images controls minds. And it all boils down to the question, who are your heroes? Who are your heroes? There's nothing wrong with you knowing who Cardi B is. There's nothing wrong with you knowing who Lil Baby is. But there's something wrong with you knowing who they are and not knowing who Carter G. Woodson is. not knowing who the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey is. There's something wrong with that. And so what we have to do, family, and then let me say another thing. If they know who Drake is, but they don't know who Assata Shakur is, it is because they haven't been taught. That's not on them, that's on us. And so, speaking of Black men who have accomplished much in life and who we can point to and have our children to look up to in terms of aspiring to be better than normal, better than mediocre. Sometimes you can just look at the men and women, well, the men who are around you, speaking to men today, and if they don't understand who their heroes are from the past, we must teach them, but we must also be heroes in the present. That being said, I want to invite to the stage a very special guest. He is a constant, consistent annual supporter of the Black Male Summit. I've known the brother for many, many years. And when it comes to leadership, especially leadership in a time of crisis, and when it comes to work ethic and hard work, waking up every day, not just seeing to the needs of the people who have, but making sure that people who have not have what it is that they need. I want to bring to you our brother. Do we have the other mic? Oh, we got it. Okay. I want to bring to you our dear brother who is the mayor of the fourth largest city in the United States of America, and now the president of the African American Mayors Association, our dear brother, Brother Mayor Sylvester Turner. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Brother Deric.
Good to see you, brother.
Always good. Why you sitting down, man?
I thought we was going to do an interview.
Well, we could do that. Hey, that's even better. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you as well. Let me first say, on behalf of everyone who's watching, we are live streaming from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, I believe. We have people watching from all over the world. Thank you so much for being a supporter of the Smarten Up Black Male Summit. Why do you think it's so important for us to have programs that are specifically designed to address the needs of Black males?
Well, I think you've already aptly provided the justification for it, and that's education. Mm-hmm. If we don't educate our young brothers, and quite frankly, our young sisters, but if we don't educate them, then who will?
Right.
And even right now, you've got attempts by legislatures all across the country to take that sort of education out, where they don't want teachers and educators providing information on the struggles, the sacrifices, the racism, the discrimination that have taken place in this country over the years, mm-hmm. over the decades. So it is important for us to do our part to pave the way, to provide our young brothers with everything that they need, the tools that they need, in order not only to survive, yes, but to thrive, mm-hmm. and to be all that God has placed in them to be. If we don't do it, then you tell me who will.
Yes, sir. Earlier, we talked about the double standards that exist in this country as it relates to race. I know a little bit about your story. Born in was it a 2-bedroom home?
Yeah, 2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms.
11 of us.
11 of you in a 2-bedroom home.
Mom and dad, yeah.
The historic Acres Home community, right, where you still live today. Right. Let's give him a round of applause for that, for not abandoning the community that built him. But you went from that University of Houston law school, graduate, and then Harvard Law. All right. What were some of the encounters? What are some of the barriers that you had to overcome as a Black man traveling down a path where you didn't see as many people or brothers that look like you?
Well, there has always been a double standard, and there still is a double standard. Mm-hmm. But look, my parents taught me in growing up that life is not fair, mm-hmm. but we have to learn how to navigate through it. But there's always been a double standard. We've always, as as African Americans, we've had to run faster,
Yeah.
achieve, perform at a higher level. That has always been the case, and I wish I could tell you that has changed, but it is not.
It has
And I don't
not.
care whether or not you are a brother making $10 an hour, or a mayor serving the fourth largest city. The double standard still exists.
Mhm.
Okay, but in recognizing that, then you don't throw in the towel, you don't give up, you just stay in the battle and do everything you can to move forward. But I'll never forget when I was in law school at Harvard,
Mhm.
and my roommate and I we went to the Goodwill store in Central Square, right outside of Boston, to get some furniture and a television for our apartment. So we didn't have a vehicle or anything, but our apartment was not that far from the Goodwill. So we went to the Goodwill. We purchased, for example, mattresses, and then we would carry them down the street to our apartment.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we would go back. We needed a lamp or something. We would go get the lamp, and we would carry it to our apartment.
Oh, wow.
And then we needed a television. We went to get the television, and we were carrying the television
Mhm.
to our apartment. And that's when the cops came
Mm.
and stopped us.
Wow.
And told us to put the television down, and just really came at us, says, where you get it from? What house did y'all break into?
You were at Harvard?
I was at Harvard in my first year in law school at Harvard, and we didn't have a truck or a vehicle, but it was close enough for us to go purchase
Right.
and carry it back.
Right.
And the assumption was that we had robbed somebody.
Oh.
And we kept saying, hey, whoa, we are law students at Harvard. And the response was, yeah, right. Everybody is, And we kept on until we pulled out our Harvard identification deal and then showed it.
Mhm.
And it was only then that they backed off. Another example is that when I was a lawyer at Fulbright and Jaworski, one of the largest law firms in the country.
Yeah.
And when you at these large firms, at least back then, they identified which law firm you were from, or if you were from a large firm, by the backing on your pleading.
Mm.
So if you had a blue back, you were from Vincent and Elkins law firm.
Mm-hmm.
If you had your pleadings had a orange back, you were from Fulbright and Jaworski.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a court hearing. It was my motion, and so we stood before the judge, and he had the pleading with the orange backing, and the attorneys on the other side were white, and so he pulled up the pleading, orange backing. He looked to the white attorney and said, "You can proceed with your motion."
Oh, wow.
So the white attorney looked at him and said, "Judge, it's not my motion. It's Mr. Turner's motion."
Mm-hmm.
So he looked at me and he said, "You're at Fulbright and Jaworski?" So I said, "Yeah, it's my pleading, Judge." So then he said, "Well, how is Thurgood Marshall?" And I said, "Well, Judge,"
Wow.
I said, "Judge, as far as I know, Thurgood Marshall is doing well. It's fine. But I didn't graduate from Thurgood. But I said, but Thurgood Marshall is doing fine."
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "Well, where did you come from? Which law school did you graduate from?" And I told him Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked at me, and then he proceeded to move on. It was another reminder, regardless of what he did, but it was also a reminder to me that it doesn't matter where you go. Okay, the very first thing that people see, they see your color.
Yes, sir.
And they make assumptions, which says we are all in this together. As African American brothers and sisters, regardless of what school you go to, regardless of what community or neighborhood you may live, we are all connected, and we have to work together to advance each and every one of us, because we will be perceived and judged just based in large part on what people see.
Yes.
Those are the elements that we face. Whether we like it or not, it is what it is. So I am as connected to that brother who's homeless, or that brother who is behind a lunch counter or serving the fast food, or that brother who's a manufacturer, or that brother who is in prison. We are all connected. And we have, and it is important on each and every one of us to do everything that we can,
yes, sir,
to advance the humanity and to advance the conditions of brothers and sisters wherever they may be.
yes, 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 yes. Right. So basically, racism is not just something you talk about; it's just something you felt the pain of as well. And I come across some brothers who may be in the corporate world, and when they experience those kinds of stereotypes, like it really hurts their feelings. Like sometimes the assumption is falsely made, or that black men or black boys don't feel. Like it hurts when you work hard for something and then someone stereotypes you in a way where they place you in a category that's less than what you work for. How did you overcome the hurt? Like, what drove you beyond those stereotypes or beyond what they did to you or what they had to say about you?
Well, it is.
What was the driving force?
It is important to know who you are.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know who you are, then other people will define it for you.
Right.
Okay. So you got to know who you are. Now, when racism, discrimination, unequal treatment, when it ceases to sting, you got a problem. Okay. You never want to be able to walk into a situation where you're treated unequally and it is okay. That means you have allowed yourself to be devalued. So it should sting. It should make you feel uncomfortable. Now, how we deal with it is something we can control. But look, when I was bused to Klein High School in Houston, 18 miles from one, 36 miles a day, and following in the footsteps of my brothers and sisters who had also been bused. Local neighborhood schools closed, okay, sold to the cemetery, because the Paradise Funeral Home in Houston is my old elementary and junior high school.
So they knocked the elementary school down and put a cemetery there.
And they put the cemetery there because the cemetery covers 50% of the Garden City, the neighborhood in which I was born and reared, and nothing grows in the cemetery. So they knew if they sold that property to the cemetery, that community, those kids, you were not going to get more and more kids.
Listen up, everybody. Okay. This is history, right?
And so, and I was at the graduation of when my sister was graduating, and I was sitting next in the stands with some other folk. It was 10% of the student body was African American. So I was sitting in the stand, and the person was up there speaking at the graduation, and I leaned over and I said, I was a kid. I said, how did that person get to speak? And this lady who happened to have been a teacher at Klein said to me, well, the valedictorian and salutatorian, they will speak at the graduation. And I said, oh, I'm gonna do that one day. And she said, well, if you graduated in the top 25%, that'll be good. So I said to myself, why she say that to me? And it became a driving force. Yeah. It became a driving force. Yeah. That conversation played over and over and over in my head. 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, I remember what she said. That 4th year, when I graduated at the top of that class and gave that speech, I remembered what she said. The point that I want to make is that when people try to devalue us, it should become a driving force to go even beyond. Okay, so will it happen? Yes. Will it happen more than 1 or 2 or 3 times? Yes. How do we respond? It becomes a driving force, because on where they intend to devalue, we have to make it value added. And so I remembered, as the scripture said, what they meant for evil,
Evil. Yes, sir.
God
Meant
has
for
turned it for
good.
good.
Right.
And so, and so that's why I say to young brothers, young sisters, hey, your life is unfair. We are facing these elements, but it doesn't negate who we are.
Right.
That we are the descendants of kings and queens, and we are smart. And just because our communities that we come from may not have all the resources of other communities, it doesn't mean we're not deserving and entitled. And neither does it say that we are less than.
Yes, sir.
So we just have to keep moving. And that's one of the reasons why I've elected to stay in Acres Home.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I've elected to stay in the community which I was born and reared is to say to those brothers in communities like Acres Home that you can come out of these communities and you can come from little and don't have very much at all. But you can also come from these communities and still live in these communities and still be the mayor of the fourth largest city in the United States.
Beautiful. One last question. I know you got a heavy schedule today. Can you speak to us about the importance of ownership?
Yeah, and nothing against people who rent, nothing against people who borrow. I mean, in all of our lifetimes, we've been renters and we've had to borrow. But when you own, you control the destiny of that property or that asset, whatever it may be. And I'm a firm believer that we are not intended to be renters. That we is intended for us to be owners.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because he who controls directs and dictates. And so to the extent you are the owner, it helps to build the wealth.
Yes, sir.
And we want to get past just being relying on a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly check. You want to get to the point where you are creating wealth.
Yes, sir.
That can be passed on from one generation to the next.
Yes, sir.
And so, is it fine to be a renter? Yes, but it should be a temporary status.
Yes, sir.
Not the permanent, not the end.
Yes.
It's a process. You rent for today, but you rent for today to put yourself in a better position to be an owner tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And then you can then rent to others.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but never allow being a renter to be the long-term strategy. Now, the only time, for example, that I say lease, the only time I lease is really to be able to use it as a deduction on my taxes. Okay, that's the only time I lease. But it's a part of the strategy of still wealth creation. But in terms of property, I want to own.
What about owning your own business?
In terms of being, look, I was at a large firm, and then McDonald's Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I followed her to a large firm, and I see my sister's here.
Hey, Congresswoman, thank you for being here.
But and it was fine. But I also knew that that law firm was never going to have my name on it. It was Fulbright Jaworski. It was unlikely it was going to be Fulbright Jaworski and Turner. Okay, and I wanted something of my own.
Yes.
So I stepped away from the law firm and started Barnes, Mars, and Turner.
Yes,
with
sir.
several other African Americans.
Yes.
And for 32 years, a partner in that firm, downtown, it had my name. We did the hiring. We paid employees. We were the ones who controlled the destiny of that firm. And because of being the owner of that firm, it really laid a strong financial foundation for me to be where I am today.
Yes, sir.
Most of the resources that, for example, that I have came from that owning that law firm. And then in return, we decided to acquire a title company, American Title downtown.
Yeah, ownership.
Yeah, that's owned by the law firm.
Yes, sir.
And so the only time I stepped away is that after I became mayor, just before becoming mayor, I divested myself of the law firm and the title company only because I didn't want people to say that there was a conflict of interest.
Yes, sir.
But it was the law firm and the title company that put me in a position where I can live where I want to live in this city and buy what I want to buy, drive what I want to drive. And I choose to live where I live. Now, I will tell you, I took that house and I gutted it and rebuilt it, but it's in Acres Home.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Any final words to our audience, sir?
Look, let me just say to all the young brothers out there, look, find your purpose and claim your destiny, okay? Find your purpose and claim your destiny. Make good decisions. But the point is, we are not intended to be anybody's doormat, okay? And it is important for us to recognize who we are.
Yes, sir.
And know who you are. You know, I can't underscore the importance of that. And that's why, Brother Deric, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for just being bold and being very clear. I want to thank you for being out there on the front line. And I want to thank you for supporting a brother like me.
Yes,
I don't care who you are. I don't care what position that you hold. We all need the support of others as well. So I can't do my job and do it well without relying on brothers like you. And I want to thank you. I want to thank this Black Male Summit and everybody who's investing, contributing, and let's invest in our own so that we can provide the education and the information that's so desperately needed. Because let me tell you, you're not going to get it just looking at the televisions or reading the newspaper.
Right.
It's going to require a lot more. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Let's give another round of applause for our mayor, Mayor Sylvester Turner. Thank you, brother. And let's also acknowledge the presence of our dear sister, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Thank you for coming, Congresswoman. Yeah. Let's move on to our next presenter. Time is short. Good to see you, Queen. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Brother Jamil Johnson, could you please come to? Brother Jamil Johnson is a young pastor of the Word Church. Hold on, Brother Jamil. I apologize. I didn't see you back there. Our next presentation will be with our brother, who many of you know him as a rap artist or as an entrepreneur. If you're logged into YouTube, our dear brother has a really big following on YouTube worldwide. I consider him a personal friend, and I don't want to go all day long trying to introduce him. Let's just give it up for our dear brother, Willie D, who in the corporate world is known as Willie Dennis. Please, God. Good to see you. All right. Thank you, Sister Congresswoman. And normally we would ask our Congresswoman to come and have a word, but it's a Black Male Summit, and we try to stick to the format of keeping those Black male voices. And there's absolutely no disrespect, our dear sister. Thank you so much for coming.
I am only here to support the Black men.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you, my sister.
To add HR 40 in your discussion.
Yes, ma'am. Love you, Sister Congresswoman. I sit alone in my four-corner room staring at candles.
Sometimes.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm splendid. How you?
Awesome, man. Good. Can you turn this mic up? Hopefully the people can hear our brother Willie D very well. All right, Will, you have had or still are having an illustrious career. I know a little bit or a lot about your story because we come from the same neighborhood. And earlier in the program, I was talking about the importance of controlling images and being able to point to someone who has, quote unquote, made it to give inspiration to the generation that's coming up behind you. You went from being an artist, music executive, and now you're doing big things in the world of media. My first question is, when you think about your journey from someone who really, quote unquote, got it out the mud, what do you think were your greatest assets internally? We didn't come up with a whole lot of resources and assets externally. We didn't have the money. We didn't have the rich family with the wealthy name. We didn't have all of that. But what were your greatest assets internally that helped you to succeed?
Pride.
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 Elaborate.
You know, when I was, I came from a place of insufficiency, insufficient clothing, insufficient food, insufficient love, insufficient protection. Everything was insufficient. But I knew that there were greater things out there. I saw people living the life that I wanted. I saw role models, mostly that were distant. But I found a way to connect. For instance, we don't have these type of role models in television today, but James Evans was that
Good
dude
times.
to me. Good times. John Amos, watching how he moved as a man inspired me. I was already that type of dude as far as, being stiff. You're not taking anything from me.
Yeah.
I'll protect my family with my life.
You was built like that.
Yeah, I want some money, but I don't want to beg for it. I want to, I want to be able to do for myself. I don't want to live off of a woman. I want to be able to provide for a woman. I want to be able to provide for my children. So it was important to me to not bring children into the world and put them at a social disadvantage because I didn't have money. I knew that the things that I was doing wrong was because of insufficient living, because I didn't have access to funds, to money. So when I saw James Evans, he had the entire package, except he never got over the hump. He loved his family.
Yeah.
He loved his wife. He poured into them. He was a hard worker. He was a man of conviction, integrity. When you knocked on the Evans door, you knew it was a man on the other side.
Right.
Of that
You could hear the bass in his voice.
You knew it was a man on the other side of that door. So I always respected that. We didn't have a man on the other side of the door at my house. I was the man. I was I'm the middle boy, but I was always like the big brother in the family because I'd go get it. I started buying my own school clothes at 10 years old. I mean, my mama didn't have to do nothing for me except cook. I couldn't cook. But I just was like, this is not me. This is my circumstances, but it doesn't have to be my reality.
Can you remember anything that almost broke your spirit? Almost broke your spirit.
The abuse that I suffered at the hands of my mother. As hard as she worked, she was a single mother. And it was just hard for me to understand how a mother could beat her own child and disrespect her own child and then say, I love you. That was really strange to me. She would say things like this when she would get, be drunk, and she'd come home and, she'd wake us up out of her sleep, hitting on us or whatever because we didn't do something right or whatever. And then she'd apologize, like say, I'm sorry, I love you. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it was confusing.
It was very confusing.
Yeah.
And that's why I've always had a certain connection with young kids who are in abusive situations, because I know what it's like to have somebody be in stewardship of your life, and you're counting on this person to protect you.
Right.
Your home is supposed to be your sanctuary. But you go home and you get pushed around. You get beat down.
Yeah.
And then you go out into the public and you get pushed around and you beat down. It's like you almost don't have an escape. So oftentimes you do take to the streets and you just, kind of, choose the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, and when you're in a situation like that, it's bound to make you act in a way that you may not have been proud of, bound to make you do things, because a Harvard study came out recently. Pastor Jamil Johnson was telling me about it. They said that there's more depression now than there was during the Great Depression in America and in society. And so we're dealing with a generation, really a world full of depressed and aggressive people. One of the reasons that the murder rate is up is because youngsters don't know what to do with their anger. We don't know how to process it. We got our dear brother who is a psychologist here, Brother Byron Parker. We don't know what to do with their anger. Like, was it your talent? Did you redirect it into your talent? Like, how did you manage it? You had to do something or you wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. I always tell people that really, there was a combination of things that have me here today. And I think first and foremost was that I think that I was shown favor. I think that I had a good heart. And my drive, my tenacity, again, my pride. I was not going to run the course in the situation that I was in. I was determined to get it and to make something out of myself. And I absolutely love proving people wrong. I guess I'm kind of sick in the sense that I like seeing my haters suffer. I really get off to it. Like every time I get ready to go live on an interview and I expose a dirty cop or a politician, or some sucker, some simp, man, I'd be like, wait till they get a load of me. Wait, watch this. And I know they're gonna suffer, and I love it. I love to expose bullies. Those people that are sitting around, trying to circumvent justice, trying to make sure that they keep their foot on black people's neck. I love to expose them.
You love to see them get what they deserve.
I love it. I love to see them in pain. I absolutely love it.
That's a real motivation right there, bro.
Yeah. And I I always felt like that I feel like all of us are here not for us, but for others. And that's why I believe that service is the greatest gift that a person can give to the world.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like this life is mine. I have stewardship over it. I can make certain decisions or whatever about it, but ultimately, I'm here to serve. Yeah, I like nice stuff. I want to drive a nice car, live in a nice house, but in order to really be able to feel appreciated, I like how the work that I sow into other people and the things that I do, how it inspires. That's what really, motivates me. Because I've been having money for a long time. I get money.
Yes.
But the thing is that I use money as a tool. Like ultimately, money is really it's just like digital currency. It's really just air. It's just numbers. It's just numbers. So that's why you'll never see me pulling out money flashing money, cash, throwing it in the air. You know, when I first started getting money, you know, I used to walk around with like stacks of paper, hundreds, like, because it made me feel like something, you know.
Right.
I ain't never had no money before, so
Right.
I wanted to see what it feel like to pull out that wad.
Right, with the rubber band.
Like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
I put 10,000 over here, 10,000 over here. Man, I haven't walked around with cash in months. You know, like, because it don't mean anything to me like that. I use it as a tool to gain access and to create options, not just for myself, but others.
Yeah, there's a scripture that says that a fool and his money shall soon part. And a lot of our young brothers, you see them, you know, on Instagram with the money stacks. Sometimes it's a stack of ones. Sometimes it's a stack of hundreds. Put their location on the Instagram post, and you may as well just put out a public service announcement that say, come rob me.
Right.
What do you think, Will, is the motive behind some of the ways our young brothers handle money? Are we trying to get attention? What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's just a matter of, you know, it's a lack of self-identity.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, trying to get attention and not knowing how to channel getting attention. Like we're human beings, so all of us want attention in some way.
Right.
All right. So anybody that say they don't like attention, they lying.
They lying?
They are lying. They're lying just like the person who says, don't make a big fuss out of my birthday. You know, as soon as you throw a surprise birthday, they break down crying.
Right, Lord have mercy.
You know, buy them a nice gift or something. They go, whoa, you know, they love it. You know, so people like attention, and this is why, you know, it's no disrespect at all to young women, because I love, you know, our young women. But this is why sometimes, you know, you'll get a young woman, or, you know, young girl who will dress provocatively, and, you know, she get a whole lot of attention. Now, when she was dressed down and being real subtle, and, you know, she may have gotten attention, but it wasn't the type that
It's a
she
different
wanted.
kind of attention.
It's a different type of attention.
Yeah.
And so she started, like, somebody told her, oh, you got some nice breasts. So she started accentuating her breast area to draw attention to it. And, oh, you got a nice, you know, behind. And so
when she see that get her attention,
accentuating it
right,
to draw more attention to it. Like, everything is based on how fine her behind looks in the clothes, right? Well, as a man, I can say that I do like looking at fine behinds. Okay. But
a natural man.
as a man, but the thing that it has to be a balance. I think that our young women have to be careful, because not just young women, but women period, is because when you do that, when you walk around with your cleavage shot, you know, when you walk around, you know, with holes in the butt part of the, you know, the genital area, you're catering to a man's lowest nature. So this is why they in the DMs, and you got dudes in the DMs making all these crazy propositions and talking to you real reckless. And you go, why is he talking to me like that? I mean, I can't believe I had to block him. Like, didn't you ask for that? You see? So, you know, it's the same thing with our young men. If you know, you getting on social media and you talking about you smoking this or you smoking that, and you're referencing a dead man, you're poking fun of a dead man, then you can't be surprised when that type of energy come back to you or your family members.
That's real.
I've never met a dude who said, you know, I hate my children. You know, he might have a kid that's bad, one or two, and they might say, I can't stand that. You know, but as far as like a person just say, I hate my children, but yet they will engage in this type of reckless behavior that puts a target on their children, because it's
Right,
not just
right.
about them. It's
Yeah.
like the little cat that got shot up at the McDonald's drive-through.
Right, with his daughter in the
with
back
his
seat.
daughter in the car.
Right.
You know, and the daughter got killed.
Yeah.
So when you engage in this type of behavior, you got to understand that you're putting your family at risk. You're putting the people that you say you love
Right.
at risk. And a dude who, you don't even have to be a critical thinker to understand that you don't take dumps where you lay your head.
Mm-hmm.
You dig?
That's game. Like they say, yeah, that's game. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't take dumps where you lay your head. This whole concept of attention versus respect. Attention versus respect. I see a lot of our young brothers, and that's primarily who we're speaking to, do things for attention, like you say, this and the quote unquote ops dead homie. They do that for attention. Where there is no beef, they'll create a beef in a rap song. They do that for attention because they believe this is what sells. Certain things they wear for attention. They say, listen, I grew up broke. I had to get it out the mud, and they become a rap artist, make $1 million, but then they spend $700,000 on cars and jewelry because that's what's going to get them the attention. Like, it's less about the money and it's more about the attention. My final question to you, Will, is to speak to the young generation about what gives a man respect. As a man, we see what gets you attention, but what gets us respect?
Man, it's a myriad of things, but you know, I could start with having self-respect.
Mm.
You know,
Write that
everything-
down. Having self-respect gets
You know.
you respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having respect for others. You know, I got nieces and nephews and little cousins. Even my little cousins call me Uncle Willie.
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
They treat me, I notice, differently from the way they treat some of the other people that are around my age that are in the family. The primary reason is because all their lives, they never known me to talk reckless around them.
Mm-hmm.
I guard how I talk around them and the way I talk around men. I don't even talk around women the way I talk around men. I never cuss them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't beat them. I never beat them when they were little. My sister used to call me when her kids were younger, and she'd call me when they would do something bad, and she'd be like, such and such over here doing this here, you need to come over here and whip his ass. I said, no, I'm not gonna be the whoop ass uncle. Don't call me. Don't call me for that. If you want me to talk to them, I'll talk to them. If you want me to support them in some type of way, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
But don't call me to whoop ass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be the whoop ass uncle.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that the things that gives us respect are things that you and I experience every day. I follow you on social media and I see how people comment when you post things about your daughter. You know, I remember when your daughter was driving for the first time and you posted that on social media, and he was scared to death. But people see that and they see you spending quality time with your children.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you respect.
Mm-hmm.
When you sow into your children, that gives you respect. You know, the way that you give back to the community gives you respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's the way that you carry yourself, it's the way that you dress.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you respect. I was talking to my niece's boyfriend about 3 years ago. No, it's more like 5 years ago. They're still together.
Mm-hmm.
But when this was the first day I met him, his pants were sagging. So I pulled him to the side. I say, man, why you got your drawers showing?
Right.
Why your drawers showing?
Right. There's a difference between your pants sagging and your drawers showing.
Yeah. I say, why your drawers showing, man? He say, oh, man, I say, hold on. My name is Willie.
Mm-hmm.
You can call me Will.
You approach him respectfully.
Yeah, I say you can call me Will.
Yeah.
You can call me Unc. You can call me Uncle Willie, Uncle Willie D, whatever. But don't call me man.
Mm-hmm.
I say now, he said, oh, my bad. I say, he said, well, you know, this is just a style. This is what we do. We young. I mean, this is what the young. I say, so in other words, you just doing what everybody else do. So you're not really an individual. You're not a leader. You just doing what everybody else doing. Right. So you really a follower. Well, now, you know, y'all had y'all time. That's how they do. You know, y'all used to do y'all thing. And I say, yeah, but we wasn't perfect. I mean, but I just really I need to know why you walk around with your drawers showing. I say, you don't feel that breeze? That don't do nothing to you?
Right. Like
wind hitting your crack of your ass, that don't do nothing to you? I say, so I say, let me explain something to you. I say, let me explain something to you. He say, well, I already know you finna start talking about the penitentiary thing, but you know, this ain't just about the penitentiary. I say, I'm gonna go further than that. I'll go further than that with you. This is why I think it's a horrible look, right? Say, first and foremost, you got a belt on and your pants are sagging, your drawers are showing. The purpose of a belt is to hold your pants in place.
Right.
So when you walk around with that belt on and your pants hanging off your ass, it make us think there's something wrong with you up top. We think you slow. Like you don't know what the purpose of that belt is. And I said, good point. I said, and furthermore, for me, now you can do what you want to do. I say, but for me, I don't like nobody seeing my drawers who ain't getting them. I don't want no dude looking at my drawers knowing what I got underneath. They call underwear for a reason. You're supposed to wear them under.
Oh, under. You're teaching, Will.
Yeah, so I feel uncomfortable even just wearing pants, knowing these dudes out here like that. Certain dudes, you know, I'm sure ain't finna be walking around advertising. So that's just, as a man, that's uncomfortable to me. But a lot of these guys, they just don't understand. They don't know they don't really understand how a man's supposed to move. Right. So this is why they watch their friends and they just kind of mimic what their friends do. Mm-hmm. A lot of them just don't really have examples of manhood. Right. And so they think that what they're doing is manly. But there's a clear difference. I don't care what this new society is trying to project on us.
Talk about it.
There's a clear distinction in the way that a man behaves and a woman behaves. And, you know, it's as different as black and white. Yeah. You know, even the way that we argue. A man, when he argues, he argues stiff. He looks you in your eye. He tell you what he thinks. He don't, you know, he don't get the bobblehead when he talking. You know, he don't get, you know, emotional and call a woman a B word because he got, you know, he couldn't argue his point.
He couldn't handle her intellectually.
He couldn't handle her intellectually, like, right.
Yeah, now you want to hit her. Call out her name.
I don't, you know, like, if you listen to just the music from way back, you might think, oh man, this guy is crazy, right? Mm-hmm. I remember meeting this girl one time in the club. I walked up to her, and this is why people have to understand entertainment versus reality, right? And a lot of times art does imitate life. Mm-hmm. But in this particular situation, I walked up to this girl. I was walking up to this girl in the club, and you know, the women can understand when a guy's walking up to him, their eyes kind of like, oh, is he walking? Okay, he's coming this way. And you know, she was standing there with about 3 other girls. And so I walked right up to her, extend my hand and I say, "Hi, I'm Will. What's your name?" She said, "Oh, I thought you was gonna call me a bitch." You know, and this is because listening to the music.
Listen to your music.
She thinks that this is the way.
That's how you really are.
And this
Who
is
you really are.
it ain't
Who
like
you
I
really
made a career on that. You know, it's like I had a couple songs, you know, well,
Yeah.
okay, maybe 3 or 4. Okay. So, but, you know, this is why, you know, people, I think that people should be held accountable for what they say, the music. Artists should be held accountable, you know, for their music. But I think it's also important for people to be held accountable for their music. And that is the music of life. That is what you project, what is you put out there for your children to see, and what you put out there for your children to hear, because there's a lot of people who love to blame rappers for anything bad about the generation. Oh, there's some rappers.
But it's
oh,
a way
the
of
rappers.
escaping self-accountability.
Yeah, they're quick to blame rappers when kids go to shooting and smoking weed and cussing and doing whatever foul things that they might be involved in. But the rappers get no credit when their kids go on to be scholars, you know, lawyers and doctors, or you know, great football players. When they get drafted to the NBA, nobody says, you know, I want to thank our cast. You know,
right? Because that's what my son listened to at every practice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But
because rappers do inspire people.
We have a lot of rappers that inspire people. There's a lot of music out there, a lot of rap music out there that inspires people. But those artists get clumped in with the nonsense, and so we are quick to blame rappers and entertainment industry for the mishaps,
right,
you know, of the children, but when these kids go out there and they shine and they make something out of themselves, we want to jump up and take the credit. Oh, that's my boy. You know, I'll spill with him every day. And that's my boy. You want to take all the credit when they come out good, but when they come out bad or they're doing something bad, you want to make sure that you pass that along. You want to kick the can down the road.
Yeah, but that goes back to our conversation about attention versus respect. One of the things that also gets you respect is when people see you hold yourself accountable and not blame everybody else for your shortcomings.
Well, that's what I do want to say this, you know, in addition to what you're saying, is that yes, it's important to hold yourself accountable, but we can't walk and chew bubble gum. The people that are out there doing dirty stuff, that are sitting around in these think tanks and trying to figure out ways to keep their collective feet on our necks, they must be exposed. They must be called out.
Yes, sir.
And we must bring attention to those clowns, those suckers. And we can do that and still, you know, hold ourselves accountable and control the part that we can control and do our best, you know, to take our culture and take our people to the next level.
All right. When this brother and I get to talking, we always go over time. Let's give it up for Brother Willie D. You can catch Willie D literally 3 times a day on his YouTube channel. Is Willie D Live? Right. Willie D Live. And he's got a lot of other big projects coming up that you may not be familiar with, but big things in the works. Congrats on all your success, and thank you for coming by the Black Male Summit. Yes, love you, bro. Yes, my brother. All right. We want to move efficiently. We want to move efficiently with time. If we could, I want to bring up a brother that I've been waiting to hear from. He is the pastor of the Word Church. I would tell you what he's going to speak about, but I don't even know. All I know is every time this brother stands in front of me, I leave more inspired than I was when I came. Please join me in giving a round of applause and welcome to the stage our dear brother, Pastor Jamil Johnson.
I'm good. All right. Good afternoon to everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Jamil Johnson. I have been a part of the Black Male Summit for maybe about the last 4 or 5 ones you've had, man. Just really been grateful to be a part. Let's give it up for Deric, for our brother, Deric Muhammad. And to those of you all that are watching online, I feel like I'm about to preach, but I'm not going to preach, man. Just grateful to be wherever you are. Technology has really made it possible for good vibes to be pushed across the globe with a button. So if you're on right now, especially if you're on Facebook, share it real quick, because you never know, it could be somebody that's connected to you that could benefit from hearing this. There's a book that I reference quite frequently every week, said that man should not live by bread alone, but every word. And words are powerful. And there's a word that has been extremely synonymous today that I want to just chime in on real quick. Just talking about self and self-identity and self-awareness. Again, I said my name is Jamil Johnson. My website is jtjohnson.org. Every handle that I have on social media is I am JT Johnson. Now, for some of you all, that may just kind of be he's throwing his name out. But I grew up in the house, grateful enough, had my old man, Arthur Johnson, my mom, Tommy Johnson. My mom was a school teacher, taught at North Forest and Rogers Elementary for 40 years. And my dad, man, worked with his hands, drove a forklift. But they taught me some real fundamental key things that have stayed with me for the rest of my life. 2 of those things that I'm going to give you today, and I'll be out of your way. The first thing is the reason why I am so confident in who I am is because my dad. I had an opportunity. Deric, my brother, Deric's brother, when we went to high school, Jesse Jackson, he has definitely transitioned, and he is a honorable brother of the Nation of Islam. And when I was there, I happened to be a little astute, I would say, graduating the top of my class, and I had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., one of the only African-American men in this, I guess, top teens across the country to represent Texas. And I went to Washington, D.C., and I had an opportunity to meet the president, who at that time was Bill Clinton. And I called back home, nervous as all outdoors, told my old man, it's like, man, we going to go meet the president, man. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm nervous, Daddy. And my daddy on that phone felt like he was in the room with me. Willie D was talking about James Evans. I called my pops, my James Evans. One, he didn't have a problem with going to get that, that act right. But 2, he showed me what it was to be a man, a real man. And my dad on that telephone told me something that has stuck with me. He said, I don't care who's in that room. He said, even if the president is in there, he steps in his pants one leg at a time. He said, don't ever walk in a room and shrug your shoulders and feel like you don't belong. He said, if they invited you there, there's a seat with your name on it. And so I stepped into a large formal dining room in the White House where the president gave a speech to about 100 of us from across the country. And I walked in with my head up. And from that day forward, I have always walked in with my head up, because when we got off the phone, my dad told me, nobody in that room is named Jamil Johnson. He said, but there's going to be a seat with a name on it for Jamil Johnson. He said, don't ever go in a room trying to be anybody else other than who you have been created to be. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why our generation and generations past, and maybe generations forward, have such a hard time embracing who they are, is because many of them really don't know who they are. So I want to challenge you, those that are with us today and those that are watching, find your purpose. Identify who you are. And it's so important for you to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, somebody else will attempt to tell you who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you'll start answering to who they tell you that you are. And if you don't know who you are, somebody will start to try to tell you where you belong. There's another story that I want to reference out of this book that I speak from every Sunday. If you want to go and look for it yourself, it's one book out of the 66 books, the first book out of that big book. Genesis 37 talked about a guy by the name of Joseph. His dad loved him because Joseph was born from a girl that his daddy really had eyes on. Now, if you want to go do the backstory, the daddy had to marry the older sister first, and her name was Leah. And, just a description, say she had a lazy eye. So she maybe wasn't too pleasing to the eye, but the one that he really loved, he had to work. He had to work for her. He had to work for her. So young brothers, let me give you a nugget. Not stunt for her, but work for her. And when he worked, he proved to the father that he could handle what the father was going to bestow upon him. So Joseph was born, and Joseph was special. His dad saw something on him, gave him a coat of many colors, right? But a couple of scriptures in there stuck out to me. Joseph started dreaming. He had one dream, and he said that they were out and they were harvesting, and there were some sheaves, and all of the sheaves that they had gotten were standing up. And then all of a sudden, when his sheaf came up, his sheaf was elevated, and then the other ones began to bow down. Listen to this. His brother said, "Oh, so you saying we gonna bow down to you?" Joseph never responded. A couple of nights later, Joseph had another dream. And in this particular time, he was in an astronomical place, and there were some stars that was around, and the sun was up. And then it said that now all of a sudden, everybody around in this constellation started bowing down to him. And it was his father that said, "Oh, so you saying that we're going to bow down and worship you?" But if we ever go back, and I've looked at this text for years before, this text, it was always pointed out that Joseph was a dreamer, and Joseph was saying that what he was going to do. That's not the case. Every time Joseph talked about what he saw, it was the people around him that began to say, "Oh, so this what you going to do? Oh, so this what you going to do?" Joseph never said that you all were going to bow down to me, but they were threatened by who Joseph was. And his haters were the one that saw the greatness on him. It's some people that's connected to you that's in your same hood that don't like you, and you don't have no reason why. You still trying to figure out, man, what I do wrong. It's nothing that you have done wrong, and it's really nothing that you can do right. It's just that they notice the greatness on you, and your greatness now makes them intimidated. But that's never a reason for you to shrug. It's a reason for you to square your shoulders up and be who you are created to be. Now, let me give you this. I am. 3 letters, 2 words. It's the most powerful statement that has ever been given in this world. I am. And whatever you put behind that I am, that's what everything in this universe is going to conspire to give you. So if you say I'm broke, you can work your fingers to the bone and you ain't gonna have no money. But if your money is a little light, just say, man, my money is in transition, or I'm pre-rich. Words have power. That's why I say I am JT Johnson, because nobody else can beat me at being JT Johnson. Now, you know why this stuck out to me? It was one year at the Golden Globes. Oprah Winfrey gave this amazing speech. And the next day, people said, Oprah Winfrey should run for president. Somebody heard that. And they went and they purchased a domain, Oprah Winfrey 2020. They did an interview a couple of days after that and asked Oprah, everybody wants you to run. Everybody wants you to run. You gonna run? And she said, nah, if I wanted to run, it's too expensive. And they say, Oprah, you got all the money in the world. You can run. People donate. She say, no. I went and somebody purchased Oprah Winfrey 2020.com and want to sell it back to me for $500,000. She say it's not worth it. She say, if I would have known, listen to this, I would have purchased my name before somebody else did. Literally, Oprah said that somebody else was holding because she didn't believe in that phase of her life that somebody else did. Somebody else believed that she could be president, but she didn't. And then when she thought about doing it, she had to go pay somebody else to give them permission to give her to be herself. So I'm telling you, I don't care where you are right now. There is a greater version of you that's waiting on you down the road. So I want you, before the day is over, everybody that's online, every young man that's in here, I want you to go to GoDaddy.com. There's a search bar at the top. When you go to GoDaddy.com, I want you to type your name in. When you type your name in, if it hasn't been purchased already, buy your name. The reason why I say buy your name is because who you are today may be a premature version of who you will be 20 years from now. But what you don't want to have happen is 20 years from now, you in the league and you got to ask somebody for permission to be yourself. Or 20 years from now, and I just saw this yesterday. Young black men, hear me. Young black men that's in here, hear me. Even if it's some young black women eavesdropping, hear me. I know the hood has told every young boy that's 6 foot tall that he needs to have a football in his hand or basketball in his hand. But can I tell you, 62% of U.S. CEOs are over 6 feet. So in the hood, we need to stop telling 6 foot tall boys that they need to shoot a basketball. That 6 foot tall young boy could be a CEO. And a CEO of your own company. A CEO of your own company. CEO of your own company. Because as crazy as it is, we got some Muslims wearing Christian Dior. Okay, somebody will catch that later. This is the last thing that I'm gonna give you in my Baptist preacher. This is my third close, and I'm gonna sit down, y'all. I wrote a book. It's called #B. When we were growing up, hashtag, everybody know hashtag wasn't no hashtag, man. It was a pound sign. You called Northline Mall to see what movies was showing. You hit that pound sign. Yeah, come on now. I'm showing my age. Magic Johnson Theaters, I'm showing my age, all right. But now it's a hashtag. But do you know on social media, that hashtag is one of the most important things. People will hashtag something before they go to Google. People will hashtag something before they go to Google. That's why every time I post something, I post hashtag I am JT Johnson. So whenever you hit that, you're going to see everything I posted, everything I thought, what I was going through at that time. And you're going to realize that that young brother there, he on to something. But the reason why I named my book #B is because my mom taught at North Forest W.E. Rogers in the back of Scenic Woods for 40 years. And I didn't have no choice, but my first job was in the summer helping her make her bulletin board in her 4th grade classroom. It was 1 year. She had 20 letters, 10 words. If it is to be, it is up to me. So I put these words together. Felt like I was on the Scrabble board at Soul Train. I'm trying to put it together to see what it meant. And then when I stepped back and I looked at it, she was standing over my shoulder. And she said, I'm glad you are the first person to see that. So happened that year, my mom became my 4th grade teacher. She said, I'm glad you're the first person to see that. She said, because I don't ever want you to believe that it's anybody else's responsibility for you to be who you have been destined to be. It's on you. So the book that I wrote, my very first book was #B. And so the chapters are be great, be dope, be creative. Whatever you want to do, you have the power to be it. And let me tell you this. I told y'all, man, I'm a preacher. So this is my 4th close. I'm closing for real. If somebody's on right now, I was talking to Brother Deric about this. And it's sad to say, but on social media, we only post ESPN Sports Center highlights. We're not posting the bad stuff. Now, I'm a pastor. And when the coronavirus came and quarantine happened and we shut down, man, we went over a year without being able to meet in person. Matter of fact, we're still meeting online now. But because I have an entrepreneurial spirit, man, I've written 7 books. I sell t-shirts. My wife sells candles. I got a cologne line. While I was on quarantine, I lost a little bit more weight, became a certified personal trainer, man. So now I'm selling meal prep online. I'm doing everything, right? I said all that to say is that nobody ever sees the dirt that happens in the kitchen. Everybody believes that the kitchen is just as clean as the dining room floor. It doesn't matter if you go to Vic and Anthony's. It doesn't matter for all of you swanky young millennials that want to go take the picture at Steak 48, or if you get the 2 for $20 at Chili's. The dining room is clean. Before you sit down, somebody's going to take a rag and wipe that table off. But it doesn't matter whatever restaurant you go to. If you step in behind that kitchen door, you're going to see grease. You're going to see dirt. You're going to see chaos. You might get ran over because people are making the dish that's going to be presented in the dining room. But because we don't show you the insides of the kitchen, when you drop something on the floor, or when that business does not work, or if you're not able to put stacks of money to your head, I heard you, put stacks of money to your head. And so my young brothers, hear me. If you go to Amazon right now, Prime Day was just a couple of days ago. You go to Amazon right now, you can buy a stack of those $100 bills for $10. Right. So while some of you all are out there trying to live a life to be somebody else, they stunting on a whole nother level. These rappers, that's rented money. That's rented cars. They're doing videos at somebody else's house. So even though you don't have 6 figures at 22, even though you don't understand cryptocurrency, even though you're not out here flipping real estate, you could be right now going to HVAC school. Don't let nobody make you feel any less than a man. You could be a plumber. Don't let nobody make you feel any less than a man. You could be a landscaper. Don't let anybody make you feel less than a man just because they are showing you their Sports Center highlight reel and yours does not look like theirs. Because let me tell you this, everybody has an opportunity to be great, but you define your level of greatness. If it is to be, it is up to me. So I thank you all for this opportunity. Don't forget, go to GoDaddy.com, buy your name. GoDaddy.com, buy your name. My name is Jamil Johnson. You can find me at jtjohnson.org. And I promise you, man, all of the businesses that I mentioned, you'll be able to catch me there. All right.
My brother, love you, brother.
Yes, sir. Love you too, man.
Come on, you all can do a better job than that. Let's give it up for Brother Jamil Johnson. Okay, real quick, family, if you would like one of the Smarten Up Black Male Summit t-shirts and you're watching us online, text your name, your size, and your address to 513-628-1438. That's 513-628-1438. If you would like a t-shirt mailed to you because we weren't able to have a big live audience due to COVID restrictions, we'll mail that t-shirt to you ASAP. Shout out to my assistant, Kamisha. She'll be manning that text message. That's 513-628-1438. Now, our next presenter is going to be very, very critical, very, very important. Go and get your son, your grandson, sit them down in front of the TV, the telephone, the whatever, the iPad, because our next presenter is going to talk to us about agriculture and agribusiness, something that you want to get your children into on the ground floor. Recently, Bill Gates, we all know who that is, right? Became the largest landowner in the United States of America. He did that in one purchase. This is the same guy who, before the internet took off, he was at the cusp or on the ground floor with that which was about to take off. Agriculture is not lame. Agriculture is the future. When we teach our children the process of planting a seed in the ground and watching it come to life, it gives them a greater respect for life. Now, I can't teach it like the young brother who's about to come up teaches it, but I want you to listen closely to him. He has a program that you may want to get your sons involved with. Please give it up for our brother. He's the executive director of the Black United Fund of Texas, but he's also over a program called Seeds of the Soil. Give it up for our dear brother, Brother Marcus Glenn.
Man, appreciate you, Dave. My brother. Man, good afternoon to everybody here. Thank y'all for having me. Definitely thank Deric for allowing me to come in and think about me to be able to talk about this issue. So a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Fifth Ward, off of Lockwood. Yeah, that's it. You know, Lockwood, actually closer to Wheatley by Finnegan Park. I grew up there. Graduated from Fur High School. Once I graduated from Fur, I wound up going to Prairie View. I originally went to Prairie View as a computer science major. Mind you, I never wanted to be an engineer. I only wanted that degree because I knew it was tied to money. And I figured, hey, in case I don't wind up doing, everything don't work out, I at least got an engineering degree to fall back on. A year and a half into that program, I realized this ain't for me. When math starts to have more letters in it than numbers, that wasn't for me. I need to leave this alone. Let me find something else. And I went and talked to my advisor, and she gave me a piece of paper, and it was 4 letters next to all of these jobs next on this piece of paper, and they were USDA. Can anybody tell me what USDA stands for? Any young person, can you tell me what USDA stands for? You can probably guess what the U and the S stand for. That's it. The United States. Can anybody tell me what the D and the A stand for? Department of Agriculture. So I knew this. If the United States government is invested into this field, it must be something there. I saw a bunch of job opportunities. All right, let me check out agriculture. But mind you, the first thing out of my mouth was, I don't want to be a farmer. And it's funny how God have a plan for you that you don't even know. Because literally now, that's exactly what my job is. No lie. I harvested this morning. This cucumber was grown at my house. This is the best garden I've had. I haven't had to do too much for it. I haven't watered in the past month or so, thanks to us having all of this rain. So my job has been really easy. All I do is go out and harvest. But, and so I'm gonna tie it. Exactly. I'm about to tie this back to y'all. And so this is a pepper that I grew. It's a Cubanelle pepper. But I'm showing you this to teach you and really show you, agriculture touches every phase of your life, but you never realize it. How many of you eat food? Everybody in here eat food. Everybody online eat food. If you don't eat food, something wrong. How many of you drink water? Everybody has to drink water. You don't drink water, you will die. You eat food, you drink water. How many of you wear clothes? Some folks might be at home because they don't want to put on the clothes that it is that they got, but they got clothes. Everybody has to wear clothes. And lastly, how many of you put fuel in somebody's car? Fuel, gas, oil, things of that nature. That's tied to agriculture. Oil comes from out of the ground. So here in Texas, the Department of Agriculture also has reign over some oil lands. But I'm saying all that to say this. Those are 4 ways in which agriculture touches your life on a daily basis and nobody ever thinks about it. All of those are multi-billion-dollar industries as well. So we're going to get into it. So this presentation is really talking about the food system. The food system. The way in which we get food is the same way in which we get educated, health, everything else. It's all through a system. But our food system is not where it is that it should be. So let's go ahead and dive into this food system. So what's your favorite type of food? Raise your hand. What's your favorite type of food? Yes, sir, young brother. Brisket. You're a man after my own heart. I like you. What else? Yes, sir, young brother. Crawfish. All right. What else? Y'all don't like no vegetables? Kale. All right. Who else had the hand up? What you like to eat? Tomatoes. Okay, I got some tomatoes growing too. But out of all of those foods that it is that you mentioned, have you ever thought about how it is that it get to your plate? How it is that brisket make it from being out in a field in, let's say, Leon, Texas, up north, as you headed to Dallas? How does your brisket make it from a field out there to your plate? Got to process it. So when we got to raise that animal up to a specific weight, once we get them up to weight, then we want to go ahead and process them. Once we process them, then we want to go ahead and package and get that meat out to you. But then you also have to find a place where you can buy it from. So this is all a part of this system. It's all a part of the food chain. We can go to the next one. All right, so the food system is the producing, so the growing and or raising, processing, and distribution of food. So what it is that I just gave you as far as how it is that brisket makes it from the middle of a field to your plate, that was a condensed version of a food system. So one thing that COVID showed us was it's some chinks, it's some gaps in our food system. So we can go to the next one. This is a video. Check it out when you get a chance. And matter of fact, I can email the presentation to Brother Deric and he can put it up. But this video talks pretty much about our current food system and how in 1960, every farmer was pretty much feeding about 25 people. 25 people was being fed by one farmer. Now that same farmer feeds about 200 some odd people. In 2050, the same farmer is going to have to feed close to 500 some odd people. So as our population is continuing to increase, we don't have more people going into the agriculture industry. And so we don't have a lot of people that are going to be producing that food. So it's going to fall to less and less people to do more and more work to be able to feed an ever-growing population. Then we also don't have a lot of land. So we have to look at different ways in which we can produce food. All right, so next one. So from farm to plate, this pretty much talks about the food system. It tells you how it is that your food makes it from that farm to that processor, from that processor to a distributor, from a distributor to a grocery store, and then you pick it up there at that end point or farmer's market. We'll go ahead and go to the next one. So everybody got to eat, right? I love the movie Paid in Full. One of the best lines from there is everybody got to eat, B. Everybody gonna eat, B. Everybody gonna eat. Ace was never worried about anything because if everybody was doing their job right, everybody was gonna eat. It was always gonna be enough, right? So since go back. So since everybody has to eat, let's think about this. Go back when. How many people are there on the planet Earth? 7 billion. All right. How many people are there in Texas? How long? Wait, stop. Y'all got phones. Let's be real. Y'all are geniuses. Y'all are brilliant young people. If you got access to a phone, pull out the phone. This is an open book test. This is an open book test, bro. Use the technology that it is that you have aside from just to double tap and to make a video. 29 million. Now we want to think. We got to exercise these muscles. We got to exercise these muscles. So how many people? It's 29 million people in the state of Texas, right? So now let's break that down a little bit more. This is the heads up for it. The question is going to be asked. So start working on it now. You see what it is, right? Okay. So how many people are inside the city of Houston? I can tell you how many in the county. It's close to 5 million people in the county. Close to 5 million in the county. That's Harris County. So how many people are in the city of Houston? Look that up on your phones. Somebody let me know. And then I'm going to tell you how many, approximately how many of these people are food insecure. Yes, sir. Come up here. Come up here. What? Oh, that's in the world. So we looking for Houston, bro. Okay, so 7 million people in the metropolitan area, but how many people just in the city of Houston? Just in the, so look it up.
2 million.
So it's close to 2 million people in the city of Houston. Thank you, young brother. Hold on, you gonna leave me hanging? That's horrible, man. Thank you. All right. So it's close to 2 million people living here inside the city of Houston. Close to 500,000 of them don't have real access to fresh food on a consistent and regular basis. Think about that. What does that mean? Pretty much 5th Ward, Denver Harbor, 3rd Ward, South Park, Sunnyside, any other inner city neighborhood, Fourth Ward, Acres Homes, Northeast Houston. It ain't no grocery stores. It's none. Period. Don't tell me about a Fiesta that's on Lyons Avenue. Don't tell me about Big City that's there on Homestead. These are not real grocery stores. Don't tell me about a Fiesta that's there on Mason. These are not real grocery stores. Yeah, they serve food, but it's not always the freshest. It's not always the best quality for us. And so therefore they get away with serving it to us. We don't have the money, but we can do something about it. We can change that food system up. So let's go ahead and move forward. So what we have to do is build a sustainable food system. And so this is actually from the UN that has a sister that's leading this effort, talking about more sustainable food systems in 2021. So in us building a more sustainable food system, you young brothers and some young sisters have to become more, you have to increase your agricultural literacy. So you're asking, what's that? What's agricultural literacy? Agricultural literacy is how much do you understand about agriculture? Plain and simple. Aside from knowing that it is that you eat food, what else do you know about it? You know, so you have to increase your agricultural literacy, but there also has to be programs and other ways to offer you opportunities to increase that literacy. My literacy increased when I went to college, when I was at Prairie View. And just imagine had I known about agriculture back when I was in Fur. Man, would have been a completely different ball game. But I'm telling y'all this based off of the numbers. The population is continuing to increase. We're gonna have to feed more and more people. We're moving away from just farming on farm land. We're looking at vertical growth spaces. So if I'm looking at this whole room, I'm looking at how it is that I can grow plants in here. Everything that is needed really to grow plants in here is needed. I got lighting, I got air access. I really just need access to waters. Drop these lights down a little bit more and set up some type of system for me to be able to grow food in here. And I don't have to use soil to do it. We can do this hydroponically. So if you're interested in chemistry, we're going to take some elements, mix them into water, and feed them to plants and see how it is that they produce. It's all science. It's all science. That's it. It's all science. But it's all meaningful because without it, we can't produce food. That's it. All right, so we want to definitely go ahead and build more local food systems. So that means we need more young people that have a higher agricultural literacy than what's currently out there, than what's currently available now. So look for gaps in the market. It's opportunity. If you selling water in the desert, do you think you're gonna win? Hey, listen, if you're selling water in a desert, are you gonna win? You're gonna win. If you're selling water in a desert, you're going to win. If you're selling water in a desert, you're going to win. So we don't have fresh food. So if you're selling fresh food in a food desert, will you win? All you need to do is get some seeds and learn, start playing around. Agriculture is a practical science. It's not anything that you have to go into a lab to study. You can. But the basics of agriculture is a practical science. All you need is the basics. Some seeds, some soil, and some water and some lights. That's it. You can start playing around. And exactly, because I'm gonna eat this this cucumber later. All right, so the next one. All right, so these are some friends of mine. These are some favorite person that I'm about to go through. Please pull out your phones, look them up. Please pull out your phones, look them up. Young people, please pull out your phones and look them up. All of these people are friends of mine. Every one of them is Black and every one of them is from Houston. Period. Fresh Life Organics. This is my brother, Jeremy Peaches. Jeremy Peaches is so dope. This brother was featured on Hulu's Your Attention Please with Craig Robinson, talking about farming. This brother's got a spot down in Sunnyside. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take you one step further. Jeremy has a growth spot at the shrine of the Black Madonna at the CDC. In the back, it's a little shed. Jeremy is retrofitting and turning that into an indoor farming space. So therefore, we're able to teach you about vertical food production. This is in the city. We're looking for people to help buy into it. This is community-based. If we're able to go ahead, raise the funding to turn this really into a production area, guess what? This is jobs. This is jobs not just for young people, but also our brothers and sisters who've gone through the penitentiary and come out with little job opportunities. So we can hire you to grow the food and you still good. Mind you, if you was in a prison, that's nothing but a big plantation. They possibly had you out there working on a field. So you got a skill, but when you came home, it was no transferable place for you to apply that skill. So you went back to what it is that you knew. That's all right. We got an opportunity to break that chain and break that cycle. So this Fresh Life Organics, next one. Acres Homes Farmers Market. This takes place on the 1st and 3rd Saturday, or the 2nd and 4th, 1st and 3rd Saturday every month out in Acres Homes. You can go there, go purchase from them. And when this was made, the Freedomstown, the 4th Ward Market was not established then. And so that's another farmers market that you can go to and get fresh food from Black vendors. Next one. Big City Gardener. Matter of fact, if you got your phone out, type in a Google search of Timothy Hammond and Home Depot. This brother's so cold, he literally has a partnership video with Home Depot and with Miracle Grow, based in Houston. He runs a garden at Cashmere Gardens multi-service center. All right, next one. Palm Center Market. The farmers market that it is that they have there. I don't know if it's still going since with the pandemic, but that's another outlet, a place where it is that you can purchase fresh food from the community. Next one. Yep. Let Us Live Urban Farm. This is so dope. Karina just wants to teach kids, teach everybody how it is to grow food. Check her out on Instagram. She hosts gardening sessions with people from all over the country as a presenter on a regular basis. Next one. Seeds of the Soil. That's the shirt I have on right now. That's an agriculture educational farm located in 5th Ward at on Quitman in Davis Street is where it is that we located at. Anytime you want to come out, just learn something, come check us out. And matter of fact, what we're trying to do now is really start moving toward technology. We can't talk about agriculture and continue to think about it in the form of cows, plows, and sows and in an old time way. That's not gonna work. What we got to think about it is in your terms, young brother. We got to talk about coding. We need to talk about robotics that's in here. We need to talk about increased light efficiency. Like, we have to really bring technology into growing food. Think about that. The intersection, the marriage of technology and food. We can save time, save money, but become more efficient in what it is that we're doing. Then if we're the ones who's developing and owning the technology, that's a completely different ball game. The same way we're talking about Bill Gates getting involved in farming, we need to be talking about how it is we can get involved in technology. Because obviously some intersection for the two. He just ain't doing it for no reason. We need to look at technology and how it is it can be used for us to be able to produce food. Next one. All right. So how will you help us build a better food system? That's it. Think about it, how it is that you can help us build a better food system. You know, so for more information, please check out www.buftx.org. That's buftx.org, Black United Funded Texas. And also hit us up on Instagram at buftx. If you have any other questions, and I'll be happy to go ahead and answer them. But I definitely want to thank Deric for allowing me to come in and be a part of this summit and to talk about this this topic. Oh, so I don't know if I asked y'all this. How much do you think agriculture is worth inside of the state of Texas? A dollar value. Assign a dollar value to it. How many? Close. Bring it down a little bit. The last estimate was $23 billion. It's $23 billion in agriculture across the state of Texas. So we're gonna really talk about money. Let's bring that $23 billion down to just Houston. If Houston has to eat, everybody has to eat. If you're a food producer, you can probably make a couple 100 million. We just got to work together and work smart. That's it.
Let's give Brother Marcus another round of applause. Let's see my brother Anthony Muhammad in the building. Let's just cut to the chase when it comes to that presentation. Brothers and sisters, we don't need more rappers. We need more farmers. We don't need more gangsters. We don't need no more gangsters. We need more farmers, more people who are willing to get their hands dirty to produce that which people use every single day. You heard him. Agribusiness or agriculture is worth $23 billion in the state of Texas alone. Those of you talking about being out there chasing the bag, you need to be out there chasing some of this good earth that you can call your own and making some money in agribusiness. So please consider getting into the agriculture industry. That is where the future is. Before we go into our last presentation, again, if you would like a Smarten Up Black Male Summit t-shirt, text 513-628-1438. That's 513-628-1438. Text your address and your size, and we will mail you your t-shirt since we weren't able to have our normally big crowd. Our last presentation, we always save the most powerful for last. He is a longtime activist, a longtime mentor. He's known on the streets as OG1. His program is called Operation Outreach OG1. There's nothing that I can say about him that is going to be sufficient to match what he's going to say to you about himself. So please, brothers and sisters, let's give our last presenter a huge round of applause and bring him on and encourage him. Operation OG1, Brother Reginald OG1 Gordon. My brother.
First of all, I want to just reinforce what he said. My name, Reginald Gordon, OG1. And I stand before you today because I'm still angry. I'm angry because after doing this work that I've been doing for the last 40 years, reforming my own personal life, but to witness dealing with this justice system, we're dealing with some serious issues right now in our community, in our city, in our state, in our country, especially dealing with how do we save black boys. I stand before you today wearing a mask, but his mask is on top of a mask. And I say that because right now I'm training to be what you call a recovery coach. I'm a prevention officer. I'm an anger management counselor. I'm a gang prevention specialist. I started the program that's all over the world called Scared Straight that I've talked to thousands of young people. After doing all that studying, I understand that I'm going to go back to what Brother Deric said. Imagery. Our image. Our zip code. As I look back in my zip code and I look back in my life as a young man, and I wonder what happened to me before I made it to the age of 16. When I made it to 16, Texas, Harris County gave me 4 50-year sentences. How did I end up with 4 50-year sentences at 16 years old? What happened to me? I wasn't no different than the other little black boys. I wanted the same thing. But I didn't look at my life like a lot of other people. What we won't look at our life today and say, something is happening to black boys, because even today, suicide have risen 73% of young black boys killing themselves between the age of 12 and 25. Suicide. We still have the largest prison system other than California, and we have the worst death penalty and death row throughout the world. My mother did everything in her power to try to save her boys. Mother loved the boys. But what we fail to look at and deal with in the community that I've done some research on, especially dealing with scientists, science and how science deal with young men, especially black boys, we're dealing with something that we don't want to talk about. It's called a mental illness that we'll suffer from adverse trauma experiences as children. If you come from a one-parent household, yeah, mama done great with me, but still, when the daddy went there, I suffered trauma for him not being there. And untreated trauma carries out different things, because for a long time, young black boys, what we do today, we do the fight or flight thing. Think from the back of our head, we emotional. And as I wore that mask and didn't know who I was, other things happened to me. It was the 7th grade before I could even read and write. And when I figured out that place that we hide ourselves in, we cover ourselves up in, when I figured I couldn't read and write by the 7th grade, what I do what most young black men do. I resort to other things outside myself because I tried to cover up who I really was on the inside of me. You know what that mean, bro? I mean, I became fake. You know, you see them out there, them fakers, them wannabes. And that's how gang life is created. Because people that want to be something other than dealing with who they really is and the secrets that they deal with. Those that control your thinking control your action. That's what Carter G. Woodson said. But you know what? You don't have to think. Let me think for you. And I had you doing what I had you doing what they had me doing. Putting a pistol in your hand. See, when you put a pistol in a person's hand, when he's empty inside, don't know who he is, he becomes 10 feet tall, 800 pounds, and he think he's bulletproof. But he dumb as hell. Can't spell his name, but he got something that gives him a sense of power. And you know what Texas is doing right now? It's called, you know what Texas is doing now? And we got to be aware of it. It's all over the paper. We got to know. Right now, we're being set up. We're being set up. They're legalizing guns for everybody to have it because you know what? I got mine. I don't know if you got yours. I ended up doing 20 years in the state prison. 20, can you imagine doing 20 years? How many y'all imagine going to penitentiary? Got it on your schedule anywhere? Do you have it? Do you have it on your schedule anywhere? You think of going to prison? How many of y'all think of going to prison? Let me tell you something. I didn't think of going either. But somehow somebody sucked that rope in and trapped me. It's all out here called the traps. You know the trap? They build them for rats, but sometimes they build them for black men too, because the trap's set up for us, because how they get us? Have a smoking little weed, like a little weed. To feed that dumb thinking. So they trap us with this weed thing, then they get another thing on us, then they feed us this old garbage called Grand Theft Auto. Teach you how to steal, rob. How many of y'all played this before? Keep it real, come on. Can I get some innocent people in the house? Innocent, huh? Let's keep it real, huh? You ain't never played it, play? You ain't never played it? Huh? Oh, hold on, hold your head down, hold your hand up, give me some realness, huh? Let me tell you something. Look, young people, it's wartime. And if you don't know how to maneuver around what these brothers have been telling you earlier, how to think for yourself, those that refuse to think for themselves become the slave of the thinker. So long as you think you doing what you're doing, Uncle Bobo got this kind of stuff waiting on you. When I woke up, I was wrapped up. Had all this stuff wrapped around me. And my mother's sitting in the courtroom, and I'm sitting up there by the judge. And the judge, you know how you want to get out of jail? You ain't never been in jail, eh? All right. I'm standing in front of the judge. Look at that. Old tough me standing in front of the judge facing 200 years. And judge looking at my record. See, everything you do follow you, even that stuff on Facebook. And he's sitting there, Mr. Gardner, you don't even go to school. You skipping school. You're affiliated with gang members. what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there holding my head down. Yes, sir. I ain't said yes, sir, so many times in my damn life. Because I want to go home. You want to get out of jail? Yes, sir. We can't let you go. You're a threat to the community. And my parents get up there and speak on my behalf. And before you know it, they look at me and look at my law. You look at me and they say, I hereby sentence you to 50 years count 1, 50 years count 2, 50 years count 3, 50 years count 4. I mean, can you count that out? At 16 years old, this fella here, I don't know who this person is. This young person here, at 16 years old, they gave him 200 years in prison. How did I get out of prison? After going there, serving 200 years. I'm not going to speak long today, but I'm going to go a lot. I'm going to let you know about all this stuff here while I pack it with me. All of it have a meaning to it. How I got out of prison was I had to do what them brothers doing on the streets. You know how they stack them dollars? Stack them dollars? You know how they stack them dollars? You know how they stack dollars? You know how them brothers stack that money? You know how that brothers stack their money? Stacking dollars. You know, readers are leaders. I think I heard that from Brother Dan. Readers are leaders. Due to me not knowing how to read, I had to get back in the books to educate myself on how I got in there, educate myself on how to get my ass up out of there. See, all the tricks gonna come your way. Because you know why? You worth more money locked up than you are out here going to school. So long as you don't get caught up, you don't understand what's happening and why they're trying to keep you caught up in the little babies video and keep you off track, not wanting to learn. They can keep us recycling ourselves, going back and forth to prison. Making ourselves like it's an image that we need to have. My mother was the only one. I'm going to tell you something about them homeboys and them friends. You got homeboys and friends? Huh? How you look up to your homeboys and friends? Huh? They run you or do you run them? Come on, player, look at me, look at me. Huh? You guess, what you mean? They run, so you're a follower. Huh? Look at me, look at me. Huh? They run you or you run them? Okay, speak up there, baby. What about you? Oh, yeah, young man, right here. Come here. I know you. Huh? How you doing? You got friends? They run you or you run them? Huh? Okay. What about you? Huh? What you mean chilling? I don't understand that kind of talk. Huh? What that mean, huh? Huh? What chilling mean? Huh? Are you easy to be impressed, influenced? How do you handle peer pressure? Okay. How you handle peer pressure? Come here, player. Come here. You stand up. I like you. Come here. How you handle peer pressure, player? Look at me. Come here. How you handle peer pressure? Huh? What you mean, dog? Huh? You with me or not? You scared?
No.
Huh? Look at me. Look at me. You scared? What?
No, I ain't scared.
What you mean? You gonna be with us or not? How you handle that?
I don't do it if it ain't me.
I can't hear you, player. You gonna either be with us or not?
If it ain't me, I ain't
You snitching?
doing it. Nah. But if it ain't me, I ain't doing it.
Okay. You snitching? You snitching?
I wouldn't be involved in that.
Oh, okay. see how they use words? How they use words to capture us? I'm telling you, I won't go do a day in jail behind you. If you do something and we together, I'm finna give you our player. I'm not doing no time for you. We got to wake up, just like I showed you earlier, leaders or readers. You have to learn how to become in a position of power, because what they're trying to do now in this world we live in, I'm telling you, just like Brother Deric said, imagery is a whole lot. And when they keep looking at us, advertise ourselves as half animal, when they look at us advertising ourselves as half animal and half man, when other people that don't look at us see you post yourself like this here, I'm half pet bull, dripping out the mouth. When they see us like this here, brother, when they imagery us with these brothers, you know, I'm not mad at them for making money, but these brothers got a mission. Why would they be wearing handcuffs? Why would these brothers, Lil Wayne and 50 Cent, why would they be promoting the handcuff when they know young people love them? You know who carry this kind of stuff, don't you? Who carry this kind of stuff? Huh? You pack this kind of stuff around? Who carry it? Cops. So why would they be promoting it? People that look like us don't always stand for us. Look here. Energy drinks. You ever heard of what you know what an energy drink is, don't you? What an energy drink is? It gives you energy, huh? Why would they be selling this kind of stuff in our store? Energy drink called cocaine. Another energy drink called sipping on scissors. Sipping syrup. Then they know young black boys like to smoke a little weed. Smoke. You ain't smoking nothing yet? You don't look at me. I know Daddy now. I didn't want to say nothing with Daddy. Yeah, ain't nobody come to you. Ain't nobody coming to you yet? Huh? I go with man. Huh? How it taste? Huh? You don't smoke? Okay. Hey, go right there. Truth teller. How it taste? You don't smoke? I ain't got to ask. I can look at it. Say, this is called a cigarillo, you know what I'm saying? Jamaican Blaze. But if you read the little, you know, they got them big names, they got the big labels on now. But if you read the small letters, you know what it says? Affects your reproductive systems. You know what that means, don't you? When you smoke it affects your reproductive system. You know what they're doing? It's drying you up because you can't make no children. I mean, then they got this stuff here called, I'm going to take this over here right quick. Look here. Bam, look here. Kush. Look here, Kush. You know what that is right there? Kush. They get that stuff there, propylene, they pour chemicals in it. You know what kind of chemicals they pour in it to make you smoke it? They put Clorox in it. They pour Clorox in it. They pour all the under-counter chemicals in there. Then they wrap it up in these pretty little papers, and they give it to you, and you smoke it. The traps. Can you read that? What did it say there? I can't hear you. $10 a blunt mean what? What is it? Go down, read it on.
2 blunts a day is
$20. That's
7 days a week.
7 days a week is what? How much?
4 weeks at $560.
Okay.
12 months at $6,000.
Okay.
Yeah, you still have no cost.
Oh, right.
The numbers actually more like 25 a blunt
Now it's a little high now, huh? Yeah. All right. What they're telling you is that people are smoking enough weed a week and a month, and they don't even have a car. They can afford a car if they just put their money towards what's valuable. Young people, I show all this stuff here for a reason, because I show all this stuff for a reason, because these are two of the things in the black community right now. These are two of the hottest things in the black community again. We cannot make the t-shirt factory rich. The rest in peace t-shirts must go. We got to wake up and wake each other up. When you see your brother down, you got to know how to pick him up. We got to have brothers that's able to speak up and speak out. When something is happening to you, you got to be able to call Brother Deric and say, look here, something is happening to me. I need to talk to you. One thing about black men, we get emotionally, he ain't gonna help me, dog. Maybe think me something weak, dog. When something is happening here, you got to call the brothers. Look here, bro, I'm tripping. I'm feeling bad. I'm depressed. I'm thinking about hitting something. So you got to be able to call me before you make that step. We got to be men and be able to love each other. We got to say, look here, man, I need some help. I'm messed up here. My mother's still living after doing 20 years in prison when I came home. All them same people that was there, the ones that were still living, they run up on me. Some of them have never changed their life, never changed their ways. But I started another program when I got out of prison after doing that Scared Straight program for years. I started my own program, Operation Outreach, just like the pastor said. I bought the name, OG1. It belongs to me. The people have been calling me, wanting to buy the name. Investing in myself, investing in my surrounding. Right now, what I've said, I'm educating myself to try to figure out, because I have a mission, like Brother Deric said earlier. I heard him say, my mission is to see black people in leadership again. True leadership role, running the world. It's coming our way, but we got to be ready for it. So that's my job, because I'm getting up in age. My job is to prepare you. Stand up, bro. Stand up. Come here, LeBron. Come here. Come here, LeBron. Come here. Come here, bro. Come here. Come here. Yes, sir. Come here. Yes, sir. Come here. Come here. Look. I'm just clean, man. This is what I'm talking about. When you look like money, you dress like money, people respect you like you money. Thank you, brother. I want to say to all young people, we are in a serious fight. We have to really look deep at our young brothers moving forward. The next 4 years moving forward, it's going to be a political warfare. It's already being played out that young teenagers, violent crime of young teenagers is out of control. That's a play pitch to start filling back up the jails. And they don't care about making money. Judge, selling children for cash. So they finna start pitching after our young men. And if we don't wake up and save them, get in their minds, have something that they want to listen to, be the person that they're not afraid of. Are you not afraid of them? Oh, he's sad. He thugged out. If you know how to talk to the young brothers and show love, again, our young kids are gifted. Our children are gifted with the insight to know when they see you, they know if you love them or not. Exactly. But they can tell they are great leaders when it comes to sensing out weak cowards. They can smell you when you're scared. Young people, I am in the mission now to open up what they call trauma-informed training centers. Trauma-informed training centers is to get young men to connect back to your feelings. That machoism stuff, it's all right, but it don't make you who you is to be a man. You say, it's all right, the brother said, it's all right to cry. Let it out. Deal with your feelings. You know what I'm talking about, brother? You know what I'm saying? It's all right to cry. It's all right to open up and say, something is happening to me. It's all right to say, I'm behind in my language or my reading or my arithmetic or my literature at school. I just don't know how to deal with it. I need somebody to help me on it. Instead of skipping and going out and hanging out in the back there. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't never skipped class? You think about that one, huh? You kept your grades up. All right. If you did that, bro, you on top of you guys. Young people, we all have to look at each other and say it to ourselves. How many more? How many of our children can we give up? Because I'm going to say this here before I get off the floor. Say this before I get off the floor. The 22 years that they gave that ex-cop yesterday, this is what they look to give us. Life without parole when you get, this is what, you don't look for no 22 years. Life without parole. The other thing they're going to give you, and that's give you off you, the death penalty. And if you don't think it's happening in Houston, how many of y'all 10 years old? You 10? How old are you? You 11? How old are you? 9? How old are you? 10? See that young man? See that young man that's standing on the, see how old are you? 13? See that young man standing on that milk cart? You see him? You know where he's going? Huh? At 10 years old. He's going to juvie at 10 years old. You know what he did? You know what he did? He was out on the playground playing like your 10-year-olds do. And little girl told him to quit playing with her. He wouldn't stop playing. He patted on the behind and she ran and told the teacher. The teachers are obligated. One of the little girls say, he touched me sexually. He touched me sexually on my behind, and I kept telling him to stop. They called the police. The police came and picked the 10-year-old up. He's in San Antonio at a juvenile youth facility, 10 years old, with sexual assault case. Playing those. See, we don't have time to play no more. We got to be serious because they are locking us up. He's locked up for playing a hit and run game. Yeah, you played that. Nigga, you smile. Huh? You played that, ain't you? Yeah. Thank y'all. I love y'all. You got to be the leader you're looking for. You are the leader you looking for. Look in the mirror. Don't wait on nobody else. And like I said, if you're going to stack your dollars, make sure you stack your books. Because books are power. Thank you, there. I appreciate you. 2 things for the camera. Brothers, when the men stand up, listen, brothers, when the men stand up, our boys will sit back down.
Come on, you can do better than that. Give it up for brother OG1. Reginald OG1 Gordon, the founder of Operation Outreach OG1. Brothers and sisters, and I'm sure there are some sisters who are watching, this concludes our Black Male Summit. I don't know about you, but I'm leaving 10 times more empowered than I was when I showed up, and I actually showed up empowered. So I want to say thank you to our presenters. Thank you to our brother Willie D for coming by and sharing some wisdom with us. Thank you to Marcus Glenn. Remember what he talked to us about as it relates to agriculture. Start thinking very, very seriously about getting into the agriculture business. I said it once, I'll say it again. We don't need more rappers. We need more farmers. We don't need more gangsters. We need more individuals who are willing to get their hands dirty and get into the future, and agriculture is most definitely the future. Thank you to our dear brother Jamil Johnson, who talked about the importance of having a self-identity, the importance of I am. Right now, our youth are in what I call, and they're not just going through an identity crisis. It's a famine of identity. And the more you don't know who you are, the more you're going to try to attach yourself to people, places, and things to try to give you value. You don't need to do that. You're a child of God. You're a child of the Most High God. You already have value. You just don't know who you are and whose you are. So shout out to our dear brother Jamil Johnson and Operation Outreach, OG1, my brother. Thank you so much. Let's give him another round of applause. For those of you who are watching us or have watched us via the African Diaspora News Network channel on YouTube, we want to say thank you. We want to give a shout out to the channel and to its founder, Brother Phillip Scott. Thank you for all you do in the community. And as we end the Black Male Summit, we want to say that we are aware that this is the most critical segment. The most important segment is when we say peace, when we say goodbye, as some of you would say, when we say assalamu alaikum. Because when we let you go back out into a world that is going to try you. The world is going to try you. But if you use some of the tools that you learned during this program, they can try you, but they won't be able to whip you. So last thing I want to say, anyone who's listening who would like a Black Male Summit t-shirt, can one of you run and get one of those t-shirts for me so I can show our online viewers what the t-shirts look like? We bought plenty of them for you all, and we have all sizes. This is the Smarten Up Black Male Summit t-shirt. It's forest green, very beautiful design. We would love for you to have it since you all couldn't be here. So just text your name and your address and your size to Kamisha at 513-628-1438. 513-628-1438. Thank you, my brother. My final announcement will be that right here at the Shape Community Center, give it up for the Shape Community Center for allowing us to host our program at this facility. Before COVID came and literally turned the world on its heels, we had a Saturday school that we hosted here at the Shape Community Center. And due to COVID protocol and COVID restrictions, we were unable to continue it in 2020. So we are pleased to announce that we will be restarting our Smarten Up Black Male Summit Saturday school. Give that a round of applause. For Black boys. It's strictly for Black boys. We have put together a powerful curriculum that we believe out of this curriculum will come some future leaders that will make our community what our community should be. And so if you are interested in getting your son into the Smarten Up Saturday school and you live in the Houston area, let me say that, send an email to smartenupblackmale@gmail.com. That's smartenupblackmale@gmail.com. I'm going to spell it out for you. It's on the screen. All right, thank you. Smartenupblackmale@gmail.com if you're interested in your son being a part of the Saturday school, and that's ages 12 to 18. 12 to 18. But if he's 7 years old and he understands like a 15-year-old, he's welcome as well. That being said, we want to ask everybody to stand, and we're going to end in prayer. Brother Blvd, you close us out in prayer?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah. First of all, I'm every Blvd. I'll be ordained minister actually July 18th with Blase One Ministries, Blase One Clothing Line, Blase One means shine again. That's why we all here to be lights of the world. So let's go in prayer, y'all. Dear Heavenly Father, first of all, thank you for this day, Father. Thank you for allowing us to be on top of the dirt and not the dirt on top of us today, Father. Thank you. By no coincidence are we here at this moment at such a time as this, Father. Father, we pray that you would just continue to watch over these young men, continue to watch over these fathers, Father. As Martin Luther King said, no man can ride your back unless you bent over. So we pray that each and every man, each and every father that's inspired by this summit, inspired by what my brother Deric is doing, will just stand up because we have people watching us, Father. So help the fathers to help the children, Father. Father, right now we just want to pray for these children, Father. Continue to guide them, to strengthen them, to lead them, Father. You say your word is a lamp and a light to our feet in our pathway, Father. Continue to lead them, Father. Allow them to know that as they draw near to you, Father, they will draw near to their destiny, to who they are, Father. They are royal priesthood, Father. So we pray that each and every father encourage their father. You say you know your children by the way we love one another, simply by the way we love one another. And what comes from the heart is felt in the heart all the time, Father. So we pray that each and every young man here in this summit leaves inspired to love better, to lead better, Father, to be a light in the world. You say we are the lights of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. And we are lit up to get light to everybody in the house. So share your word, share your love, be encouraged. Know that the Father loves you. He guides you. He protects you, Father. You are lions, Father. You are cubs transitioning to lions, young men. So be the men that you are purposed to be, Father. We ask these things in your darling son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Appreciate it, Brother Blvd. This concludes our Black Male Summit, and may God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.